Kong just wanted to have breakfast, but suddenly he let out a painful cry. It turned out that he had a cavity in his tooth. The sharp pain in his tooth made him feel miserable. Feeling helpless, Kong had no choice but to crawl up to the surface from the hollow earth and seek help from humans. Soon, the doctor found a dentist who was ready to pull out Kong's decayed tooth. After injecting a heavy sedative, the dentist arrived by helicopter and landed on Kong's body. He then secured the tooth with chains and began the extraction.
All right, let's roll!
To ensure that Kong could continue eating meat normally in the future, the dentist installed a titanium alloy dental implant. Kong was very satisfied. However, at that moment, he couldn't have imagined that this would lead to mockery from his kind. After the tooth extraction, Kong was back to his usual energetic self and was preparing to return to the hollow earth. But trouble found him as soon as he arrived. A pack of wild dogs began chasing him. Though Kong wasn't afraid of them, there were too many dogs, and getting rid of them wasn't going to be easy. So, Kong made his way to a cliff. With a mighty leap, he tried to shake the dogs off by using the cliff to his advantage. However, to his surprise, the wild dogs jumped right after him. With nowhere to go, Kong suddenly showed a sinister grin. It turns out he had lured the dogs here on purpose, ready to teach them a lesson. Just then, one of the wild dogs couldn't resist and attacked first, but it fell right into a trap Kong had prepared earlier. Before the other dogs could react, Kong activated another trap. As the smoke cleared, the wild dog army was crushed under rocks, almost all of them wiped out. Only 3 dogs managed to escape, but they were still foolish enough to make another attempt. Kong didn't want to wipe them all out, so he picked up the dead wild dog and tore it in half above his head. The remaining dogs, seeing this, immediately turned tail and fled. But Kong felt very uncomfortable, covered in liquids from the wild dogs. He headed to a waterfall for a quick bath and then returned home to eat. Just as he was about to dig into his meal, a deafening roar suddenly echoed through the canyon. Kong thought it might be one of his kind, so he eagerly ran toward the source of the sound. However, when he reached the canyon, he was disappointed to find that the roar came from a frog. He was extremely disappointed, as he longed to find his own kind. What he didn't realize at that moment was that his wish would soon come true. After returning to his home, Kong sensed a terrifying energy. He quickly grabbed his long-forgotten battle axe, preparing for whatever might come next. He then made his way to a cliff and saw eerie blue light coming from below. The energy was emanating from there. Determined to find out what it was, Kong decided to investigate. Using the light from his battle axe, Kong was shocked to discover that the area was filled with the bones of his kind. While feeling sorrowful about this discovery, Kong suddenly heard another roar from a distance. He walked out of the cave to investigate and found an even larger space inside. There, in the mist ahead, a tall figure began to approach. Kong tensed, ready for a fight, but as the figure drew closer, it turned out to be a small yellow gorilla, his first encounter with one of his own kind in years. He crouched down, set down his weapon, and reached out his hand, wanting to pet it. But the small gorilla suddenly bit his finger and tried to escape. Just as Kong was about to give chase, another strong gorilla appeared behind him. Without a word, they ambushed Kong, knocking him to the ground. But they were no match for him. Kong grabbed a rock and easily knocked several of them out. Suddenly, the small gorilla jumped onto Kong's face, launching an attack. Kong grabbed it and used it as a weapon. Despite being in a fight, Kong spared his kin. Unfortunately, one of the gorillas fell off the cliff during the battle. Kong managed to grab its arm and pull it back up. But instead of thanking him, the gorilla attacked Kong with a knife, which completely enraged him. The last remaining gorilla turned to flee, but Kong wasn't in a rush to chase it. He picked up a rock and threw it with force. Then, Kong grabbed the small gorilla hiding in a tree and tossed it onto the ground. Faced with an enraged Kong, the small gorilla stood frozen, like a child who had done something wrong, not daring to make a sound. Kong picked up a bone knife and signaled for the small gorilla to lead him to the place where the gorilla tribe was currently living. The small gorilla, unwilling to do so, eventually relented under Kong's pressure. But despite being a young gorilla, it had evil intentions. Instead of leading Kong to his tribe, it brought him to a very dangerous place, planning to betray him and take advantage of the situation.